To save money, I rented a room online. Who knew that my roommate was a woman? She stood outside the door and said softly, "Brother, can you help me? My name is Lu Dong. I just graduated from college and came to the big city to make a living. The rent was too high, so I could only rent a room online." Little did I know that the person I was sharing with was a sexy woman named Lu Yen. But after living together for a while, she just stayed locked in her room every day, not even coming out to eat. One night, while I was taking a shower with my clothes in hand, I accidentally heard some sounds coming from her room. Her door wasn't closed properly, and curiosity drove me to take a closer look. Through the crack in the door, I saw her doing something astonishing. Lu Yen was wearing a pair of headphones, facing away from me, and I noticed that there was a phone placed directly in front of her. The phone was recording a video, and Lu Yen was completely engrossed in it, unable to tear herself away. This is bad. I took a deep breath and told myself not to think about it. I could only quickly go into the bedroom, cover myself with a blanket, and fall into a deep sleep. The next morning, a strange object appeared in the trash can in the living room. It was a large toy with the words "adult products" written on it. For a single man like me, this was undoubtedly a huge temptation. I wanted to reach out and pick it up, but Lu Yen's footsteps were getting closer. Lu Yen was holding a parcel in her hand. When she saw me, she smiled shyly. Then she left. After hearing her close the door, the surroundings fell silent, and my boldness grew. I stood up, paused for a few seconds, and made my way to her bedroom door. Lu Yen hadn't closed the door, and I could see all sorts of strange, sensual, and alluring items inside her bedroom. As if possessed, I wanted to get closer, closer, and closer, my heart beating wildly. But then, a strong fragrance hit my nose. The smell was irresistible, and I sank deeper and deeper into it, my feet moving forward uncontrollably. Once inside, I could see clearly that Lu Yen sat on this chair every day, performing in front of her cell phone holder. Next to her chair, within arm's reach, were all kinds of little trinkets. Just as I was about to succumb, Lu Yen returned. I panicked and, in my haste, hid under her bed. The room was filled with the sound of Lu Yen's high heels. The footsteps grew closer and closer, as if they were stepping on my heart. With a thud, Lu Yen sat down on the chair. "I'm so tired." Lu Yen stretched out her hands and fanned herself, then turned on the air conditioner with the remote control. "I still have to work overtime." She sighed and started playing with her phone. After a while, she put her phone on a stand and turned on the video recording mode. My heart was about to jump out of my chest at that moment. But just as the competition was reaching its climax, a phone rang, breaking the moment. Lu Yen hurriedly pressed pause, answered the phone, and responded with a playful smile. "Honey, are you off work yet?" A man's voice came from the other end of the phone. "I'm off work, but I miss you so much." "Really? I miss you too." "Then hurry downstairs to pick me up." Lu Yen's boyfriend had actually come to find her. Upon hearing that her boyfriend was on his way, Lu Yen was visibly panicked. She hurriedly tidied up the room, stuffed that big thing under the bed, and ran out wearing her high heels. When her footsteps had completely disappeared from the room, I dared to crawl out from under the bed. Looking around the room, I reluctantly backed out. "I miss you so much." Lu Yen appeared in the living room with her boyfriend Wang Hao. Immediately, the two hugged and kissed and walked into the bedroom. Wang Hao was very tall and looked extremely fierce. He and Lu Yen seemed like a perfect match. The desire that had been silent in my heart for more than 20 years was suddenly aroused. I suddenly took a sip of water, but I still couldn't satisfy the desire in my heart. Coincidentally, Wang Hao suddenly received a phone call and hurriedly grabbed his clothes and ran downstairs. After Wang Hao left, I got up and paced around the living room. The night was endless and dark, and the darker it got, the bolder I became. I took a step closer to her, then another. Suddenly, she turned her head and saw me. Our eyes met, but she didn't say anything. At this point, I gathered my courage and said, I know what you've been doing behind your boyfriend's back. If you don't want me to tell your boyfriend, then you know what to do. Lu Yan still didn't say anything. I smiled wickedly and backed out of her bedroom. Before long, Lu Yan pushed open the door to my bedroom. Brother, can you help me? At that moment, I couldn't control the desire in my heart, and I knew she felt the same way. Before I could say anything, Lu Yan threw herself at me. The night was quiet, making people feel both excited and depressed. Because in the next moment, Wang Hao quietly came up behind me. What are you doing? He quickly stepped forward and grabbed me. Then, Wang Hao threw me to the ground. I was only gone for a moment, and you were already hitting on my woman? Are you looking for death? Wang Hao's anger was evident on his face, and I instantly sobered up. But I was facing such a strong man, and I was in the wrong. I had no idea what to do. I could only turn my head to look at Lu Yan, but she was curled up, looking pitiful and wronged. What should we do? Wang Hao lit a cigarette, glaring at me with a vicious look in his eyes. What should I do? What could I do? I had no idea what to do. Should we settle this publicly or privately? In your situation, it's better to settle this privately. Otherwise, if you end up in a small black room, I wouldn't be able to bear it. But if we settle this privately, it'll be 200,000 yuan, not a penny less. Hearing this, my heart sank, and I turned my head to look at Lu Yan again, because I knew her secret. If I told Wang Hao about it, Lu Yan would definitely die a horrible death. Now I prayed that Lu Yan would speak up for me. Sure enough, Lu Yan spoke up. Come out for a moment. I have something to tell you. After the two of them left, I was alone in the room. I was still shaken. About 10 minutes later, the two of them must have come to an agreement. When Lu Yan walked in, her face was beaming with joy. She took advantage of Wang Hao's inattention to slip me a piece of paper with the following written on it. Give him 100,000 yuan later. I've already talked to him, and he won't give you a hard time. Remember, don't make him angry. He has a violent temper. I'll give you the 100,000 yuan back later. Lu Yan's handwriting was messy, as if she had written it in a hurry. But seeing these words, I felt a little more confident. I was willing to keep this secret for her. I'll give it to you. As soon as I said that, Wang Hao's face lit up with joy. After taking the money from my hand, he hugged Lu Yan and went inside to have fun. But from Lu Yan's voice, I could sense that something was different about her. Perhaps Lu Yan also felt guilty towards me. Early the next morning, Wang Hao left early. Lu Yan came to find me. Thank you. Here's 120,000 yuan. The extra 20,000 yuan is my gratitude fee. I didn't expect Lu Yan to earn so much money doing this kind of thing. Why are you with him? What can he give you? Although it was inappropriate, I still asked the question that was on my mind. Unexpectedly, Lu Yan's face immediately fell when she heard these words. It turned out that she and Wang Hao had been childhood sweethearts and had grown up together. Later, Lu Yan didn't go to school because of Wang Hao and ran around trying to make a living in the big city. He's very good to me. He gives me his entire salary every month. At that moment, I envied them. I envied their deep affection and their long-lasting, unbreakable love that had lasted from childhood to adulthood. That morning, Lu Yan talked to me a lot. She also said that Wang Hao wasn't a bad person, but he had been short of money in recent years due to the economic downturn, which was understandable. He wants to marry me and take me home as soon as possible. So I've been saving money. Since then, I've had more respect for Lu Yan and felt sorry for my previous offense toward her. It seemed that after our heart-to-heart talk that morning, Lu Yan became much more well-behaved. Every day, she would live stream properly, and when she came home from work, I would see her sitting there quietly, dressed very conservatively. One day, Wang Hao came over again. But this time, he wanted to drink with me. Brother, let's have a drink. With Lu Yan mediating, I didn't feel so hostile towards Wang Hao anymore. Wang Hao was big and burly, tall and strong. But I didn't expect him to be such a lightweight. After 2 bottles of beer, he was already slurring his words. After 3 bottles of beer, he said he couldn't drink any more and needed to take a little break before continuing, but he ended up passing out on the table and couldn't be woken up. Only Lu Yan and I were left drinking at the table. To avoid the awkwardness, I quickly finished my drink, got up, thanked everyone, and said I was going back to my room. But Lu Yan let out a muffled cry and started crying. I didn't understand and just stared at her blankly. He seems to have cheated on her. I found a lot of suspicious transfers on his phone. Sure enough, men are all bad. Lu Yan's sobs came one after another. Although I had never been in a relationship, at that moment, I could deeply empathize with her. But I was still shocked. I didn't want to believe that there was no true love in the world. He spent all 100,000 yuan. I found it by accident when I looked at his phone last night. Under the influence of alcohol, I seemed to have lost my senses. I couldn't refuse a woman's sobs. I wanted to do something. Unexpectedly, she suddenly looked up at me, her eyes blurred with tears, looking very pitiful. If he can do this to me, why can't I do this to him? Lu Yan spoke with a sense of injustice, sobbing, but still speaking clearly and seriously. I didn't know how to respond, but she suddenly kissed me. If Wang Hao found out about this blatant provocation, would he kill me? If you're worried, let's go to the room. Come to my room and take his place, okay? Seeing my hesitation, she spoke again. This time, as if possessed, I followed her into the room. In the room, I threw caution to the wind. It was you, Wang Hao, who betrayed Lu Yan. You and her are already over. From now on, I'm Lu Yan's new boyfriend. I'll treat her well for the rest of her life, won't I? I told myself this in my heart, and suddenly I felt confident and let my true nature run wild. But I didn't expect that Wang Hao would wake up. At first, he vomited violently, but I didn't notice. Later, he got up to go to the bathroom and saw me and Lu Yan having fun, so he beat me up again. Are you looking for death? You're back? You dare to come back. You're in my room, occupying my spot? What? Don't you think I'm human? That night, Wang Hao beat me up violently, saying that beating someone like me was pointless. Of course, I refused to give in and fought back. What's the point of reasoning with a scumbag like him? Lu Yan, who was cowering in a ball at the foot of the bed, gave me courage and confidence. But this time, I made a mistake. While I was fighting Wang Hao, Lu Yan suddenly cried out loudly and said that I had violated her. She glared at me fiercely, pointed at my nose and shouted, "You're an animal. You violated me. You forced me to do that." I was stunned. At that moment, I collapsed completely on the ground. Look, she's saying it herself. I have no idea how you've been treating her while I was away. Using violence to coerce an innocent woman into doing such things with you. Do you know how serious your crime is? They quickly listed a whole bunch of charges against me, saying that someone like me deserved to die and should be arrested and sentenced to 10 or 8 years in prison. I didn't feel like arguing with them anymore. All I knew was that I had been hurt. Did you hear that? I'm calling the police. You've gone too far. You piece of trash. What kind of person are you? We'll lock you up and put it on your record. Your son and your grandson will hate you forever. Those words struck a chord with me, and I begged them not to do this to me. But Lu Yan continued to cry insincerely, and Wang Hao still wanted to call the police. Let me go. I'll do anything. At that moment, I thought of my parents back home, and of my future wife and children. I wanted to escape and get this over with, then go back home. I would never come back. Let you go? Anything. 20,000, not a penny less. At that moment, Lu Yan gave me the same look she had last time. I couldn't understand what she meant. Perhaps she would do the same as last time and deliberately make me give the money to Wang Hao, then return it to me the next day. This might be Lu Yan's scheme. Out of pity for her boyfriend, she was using this opportunity to give him some money. But this time, I had made a huge mistake. I was naive. I was innocent. I couldn't control my desires. All of this was the punishment and price I deserved. I only had 120,000 yuan, plus the 80,000 yuan from the online loan, which finally made up the 200,000 yuan I gave to Wang Hao. But this time, Wang Hao didn't leave after receiving the money. He hummed a tune, sat down at the dining table in the living room, and leisurely began to drink. Ah, a big sum of money has come in. Drinking is so satisfying. How can he still drink? Is this all an act? Yes, I'm just pretending. Did you figure it out? While saying this, Wang Hao motioned for Lu Yan to come out and drink as well. I advise you not to do anything rash. I have surveillance videos here. You clearly violated my woman. Seeing me take out my phone, Wang Hao threatened me. I didn't dare to make a move and stood there dumbfounded. Come here, I want to tell you something. Wang Hao blew out a bottle of beer in one gulp, threw a few peanuts into his mouth, and said to me. As I approached, he touched my head. Little brother, from the moment she moved in, you were doomed to this fate. It turned out that this was all a trap set up to lure me in. Why did you do this? Why? Hearing this, Wang Hao and Lu Yan both laughed. Why so many questions? It's just for the money. I gave you the money. I'm going home now. You want to leave? Suddenly, Wang Hao's eyes flashed, and his hands began to tighten their grip. He held me tightly, making it impossible for me to move. Lu Yan immediately stepped forward, snatched the phone from my hand, then reached under the table and pulled out something else. She placed it under my nose, and after I smelled it, I fainted. It turned out that it was Lu Yan who had made me smell that substance earlier, which had completely unleashed the evil thoughts in my heart. When I came to, I was already bound tightly by them. The world is full of dangers. You must be more cautious. After a pause, Wang Hao continued. But don't worry, you've met us, so there's no way you can escape. Sigh. Just accept your fate. But I'll give you a dignified death. After all, we've been friends for so many years. I didn't know what they were going to do to me. All I knew was that endless darkness awaited me. Brother, should we sell him first thing tomorrow morning? Brother? Wang Hao is actually Lu Yan's brother. It seemed that everything was fake, just a facade for me. They were going to sell me? Was death all that awaited me? But Wang Hao didn't seem like he would let me go so easily. No, I've just discovered a new project that we can try. Wang Hao looked at me with a wicked smile and walked towards me step by step. Look at this kid, with his delicate skin. He should be top-notch. You get the stand out and start streaming. I couldn't even imagine what kind of treatment I, a man, would suffer besides having my body parts sold. Little brother, relax, you'll get used to it and it'll feel good. Where there's a market, there will be people to do it. That's the eternal truth. Don't be afraid, I'll be very gentle. Lu Yan had many different kinds of drugs. As long as I smelled them, she could achieve almost all of her goals. When I woke up, I was weak and powerless. There was only one thought in my mind: run. But I had no idea how to escape. However, I noticed that at around 4 or 5 in the morning, they actually ordered takeout. I saw the delivery person stand at the door, walk in, hand the takeout to Lu Yan, and then leave. This coming and going sparked my determination to escape. Yes, I not only wanted to escape, but I also wanted to report them and make sure they never got out of prison for the rest of their lives. I pretended to have convulsions, curling my legs up and shaking uncontrollably. How, he looks like he's about to die. Wang Hao is still asleep, but when he heard that, he immediately got up and came over. You idiot, why are you so weak? Hurry up and deal with him. If we take him there later, he'll be cold. But I continued to feign weakness. Lu Yan panicked. Should we take him to the hospital? Wang Hao shook his head. Taking him to the hospital would expose everything. Loosen his grip first. Let him drink some water and move around a bit. Hurrying, he yawned, stretched, and seemed to say he wanted to sleep a little longer. But I took advantage of the moment when Lu Yan let go of me to get ready and rushed to the door in one breath. I managed to get out, but as soon as I reached the door, I heard a series of shrill female screams coming from the house next door. The sound was very suspicious, and I couldn't help but think that Wang Hao and the others were probably working with a gang. But Wang Hao was catching up fast, so I had no choice but to run down the stairs. I lived on the 8th floor, and by the time I ran downstairs, my legs were shaking. But now I saw that Wang Hao had arrived downstairs and was greeting the security guard at the door. Was the security guard also one of them? I had no choice but to run back upstairs. The most dangerous place must be the safest place. But I ran to the room next door. There was a woman locked inside, her hands and feet bound. Her hair was disheveled, and various props were scattered on the ground. It was clear that she had suffered the same inhumane abuse as me. Help me. Her speech was slurred, but I could still make out those 3 words. Her name was Gu Ting, and she was also a college graduate from the north who had come here to make a living. After I freed her, Gu Ting told me that they were all in cahoots, even the landlord. They worked in teams specifically targeting people from out of town. For men like me, they used their beauty to lure us in. For women like her, they used men. They would rent rooms together, gradually lure their victims into a trap, gain their trust, then swindle them out of their money, and finally exploit them until they were drained of everything before selling them off. This series of events left me speechless with fear. What should we do now? There are people downstairs, and they'll be up here any minute. No sooner had she finished speaking than the sound of hurried footsteps echoed outside the door. There's no time to think. Looking at the woman in front of me who was suffering the same fate as me, I suddenly felt my masculinity awaken. I am a man, and I must protect women. At this moment, I had to make as much noise as possible. So, I frantically smashed things, throwing all the tables, chairs, and benches toward the window. I refused to believe that, even if they had connections, they could still get away with it in this day and age. While I was smashing the windows, I told Gu Ting to turn on the gas. The 2 of us worked together, and by the time they came in, we had already completed this great feat. The neighbors downstairs heard the loud noise and saw the flames rising from the floor, so they immediately called the police. Fortunately, the fire was extinguished in time, and no major disaster occurred. We were all taken to the police station. Wang Lei, Lu Yan, the man named Chen Bin, the landlord, the security guard, and a series of other people involved were all arrested and received varying degrees of punishment. They confessed everything and finally revealed the big shots behind them in the face of justice. The police followed the trail and finally arrested the contact person hiding in the back. The matter was finally settled. After successfully escaping danger, I breathed a deep sigh of relief. Gu Ting looked at me with a worried and helpless expression. Thank you. Hearing this, I smiled slightly. What are you thanking me for? We're just saving each other. Gu Ting smiled and changed the subject. What are your plans for the future? I was also quite confused. Let's just go back to our hometown first. Suddenly, I really miss my mom and dad. Gu Ting heard this and laughed out loud. How about I take you back with me? In ancient times, you saved me, so I'd have to marry you. I looked closely at Gu Ting. She was indeed a pure and beautiful woman. In her, I could see a clear and vibrant energy, unlike Lu Yan, who had a face full of worldliness and turbidity. Gu Ting went back to her hometown with me. The 2 of us found low-paying but stable jobs in the county town of her hometown. It was a little boring, but life was peaceful and stable. Perhaps that was the meaning of life. After that incident, I realized that one must never act on impulse. People have many desires, but if they are not controlled, acting on them recklessly will lead to disaster. There are no free lunches in this world. I won't wait for a free romantic encounter to fall into my lap. What awaits me is only endless misfortune.